Back an hour out of sleep. Oh, it is Wednesday morning, and we already have a couple of hellos waiting for us. Here we go.
Oh, good morning.
Hello, we got Patrick already, Amy, and Marlena. They're already waiting. They know our schedule better than we do.
That's right. Or they pay attention to it better than we do, one or the other.
Oh, and Swifty. Hello, Swifty. Just joined us. I didn't see very many comments afterwards from last time, other than some repetitive questions that we kind of answered in the beginning about fairies and earthbounds and that they are different. Hello, Lewis. So, I don't know if you have a topic that you'd like to get right in there about earthbounds or fairies for that matter.
When he has questions, you're just saying hello.
Mm-hmm. Though I think we did tiptoe to that doorway. And I think somebody mentioned last week about, werewolves. And so now I'm sure everybody's wondering, like, what's real, what's not? If fairies are real, what about all these other creatures?
Before, I think any of those, and people call them folk tales or folklores, I think there's some truth to all of that stuff. But over the centuries, they disappear. People they can put things in perspective better now. Maybe being a werewolf was some kind of a mental illness, because there are still people that think they are werewolves today, and they do drink blood. I mean, they have the teeth made, the fangs made, and right. I'd like to know what kind of dentist does that. Did you ever wonder what kind of dentist would even do that in a practice? Nah, I don't need to know.
Oh, hello, Natalie, Sandra, Sue. Patrick asks, how many different types of fairies have you encountered?
Personally, I've only seen 2 different types, but I have done houses where they've had a lot of different ones, from little ones to leprechauns to trolls. So even though I haven't seen them, there was a 6-year-old girl who is now married and has children, by the way. So you know how long ago this was. She was 6 at the time, and that troll was actually moving her on the floor when she was asleep and stripping her bed down to where it was taking the plastic zipper thing off of her mattress. And it was like rolling them up in a ball like this and putting them in the doorway. And and the other kids never heard it. Her husband never heard it. What they heard was her whimpering, because it was in the middle of winter, close, like freezing, like it is now. And her mother heard her, just whimpering. So she thought, oh gosh, what's wrong now? She gets out of her room, and she can't walk in the kid's room because it's piled up with the sheet and the blankets and the bedspread and the pillows, and like the whole doorway was blocked. And a 6-year-old cannot lift up, even if it was a twin bed mattress, a 6-year-old cannot lift that up and take that off without making some kind of noise. I mean, come on. And she almost started to think that the 2 older girls were going in there in the middle of the night and doing it, and they were not. And finally, she decided to put her. The one daughter said she could come in her room and sleep with her, so they were moving her dressers and everything into the other bedroom. And when the mom pulled the dresser out, on the side of the dresser, there was a picture. And again, I'm going to refer to Cousin It on the Addams Family. It was very similar to what a 6-year-old would draw. She says, "That's what's moving my stuff, Mommy."
Oh.
So she had actually drawn a picture of it. I saw that picture. So even luckily, I have not seen them. So, but they're out there.
There are the artist and author Brian Froud He's probably one of the better authors and artists that I'm familiar with. Froud. He's got wonderful art books about fairies, and he's drawn like watercolor artwork of each kind, and will say this is where they're found, this is what they're known for, and they are not the cute, adorable Disney, little Tinkerbell things. They cause quite the mischief. Tina asks if can fairies make you clumsy?
No, I don't think so. Now, a leprechaun will trip you. They've been known to do that. But leprechauns usually go after kids 12 and under, or animals. Like I said, the leprechauns are the ones that are pretty mean to animals. But no, I don't think so. I mean, anything, you can catch anything out of the corner of your eye, and you look that way and you trip over something, but they didn't push you.
Right. Or pop the thing out of your hand as you're walking by.
Oh, yeah, that has happened. Yes, absolutely.
So Lewis is asking if spirits can feel heat or get cold.
They cannot. They can cause a temperature change where you feel it, or, live people feel it, but they do not. They don't eat, they don't sleep, they don't have a body. They're pure energy. So hot and cold wouldn't bother them at all. I mean, if they can think about going from here to Paris, temperature wouldn't have anything to do with that.
Well, that would be kind of cool. You can wear whatever you want. You never get hot or cold. And you can
smoke as much as you want. Right. Drink as much as you want, except they don't drink, but they do smoke. And I often wondered, if they don't eat or drink, why do they smoke? And I don't know.
Do you find that more spirits from a certain time period smoke more after they're dead versus like people who are more current? Because remember, I think smoking was considered a status symbol up until a point. So maybe that could be it.
Yeah, it's the age of from the people that died, men that died in the 50s. They tend to smoke cigars. Men that died in the 40s, they're pipe smokers.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I think that has something to do with history and what was available and, what the fad was at the time. I have seen women smoking a cigarette with one of those long, I don't know what they're called.
Black.
Where you stick the cigarette at the end of it, and then you've got this like Marlene Dietrich where she's, yes, darling, but holding one of those cigarettes. But I don't even know I don't even think you could find those anywhere now.
Well, I'm not a smoker, so I haven't looked. But when my grandfather passed, I went looking for his pipe tobacco because I loved the smell of it as a kid. Still do.
Oh, cherry?
What's that?
Did he smoke cherry?
The Borkum Riff was the brand, and it was like the whiskey bourbon.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It smelled so good. So like I would fall asleep in the car because to me it felt like a long drive to Grandpa's house, and I would just wake up, they would carry me in, and I knew that I was there because I love the smell. So I was looking for it for his funeral, and the things that are in tobacco shops and stuff, but I don't remember seeing those. I'm like, those must not be the thing anymore to have their cigarette.
Yeah. When I am in a house and a ghost is smoking a pipe and he's smoking cherry tobacco, that's very distinct. You know that smell. My father smoked half and half, and not very many people smoke that one. But there are so many different kinds. Mm-hmm. And I could still, not this year, obviously, but last year I went into a house and I actually smelled some ghost had just finished smoking marijuana. Like, oh yeah. How can you be high when you're already high?
Contact buzz from the spirit world. Is that a thing? Let's see. Okay, so am I a medium? most of my work is around healing, and if things come through, if people come through that have crossed, or if you've been watching Marianne long enough, for me to see earthbounds, I have to be so exhausted that every filter and every barricade and every block I have comes down, and then I think I'm crazy and I'm hallucinating.
Like most people.
Yeah, like why did I just see pants? Nothing else, just pants walking across the room. I see more of the people from the other side, or spirits or guides, or and that's mostly in healing work. In my day-to-day, I'm dealing with so many things and so many people that I don't allow that to come through. I do have mediums that work here through the store that are wonderful, and everybody to read for me or the store to be associated. You have to go through an interview read, which I hear is a nerve-wracking thing. When I say you got to do an interview read, they go, oh, shit.
Right.
But I'm
better
like,
come up with something good.
Right. Like, no. And sometimes I won't even have you read me. I'll have you read somebody else. If I feel that you know me too much, then guess what? You're sitting down with somebody else. And then I'm going to talk to them in front of you and go, how do you think this reading went? Do you feel that you connected? Was there substantial evidence for proof of the information they were giving? So my mediumship, and I say that air quotes because I don't always, they're not on speed dial, is more in the healing work and what you need to know, and any guides or family members coming through and saying, hey, this needs to be addressed. So that's a long answer to the short question. Swifty, Swifty says the troll sounds familiar to something boyfriend saw as a teen that he described as looking like Captain Caveman. I think Captain Caveman was fun. The fairy doesn't sound fun.
I never watch cartoons, so I wouldn't know who that is. But that would probably be a really good description.
I'm going to have to play around with the tech on this some more and start popping little pictures of these different things up on the screen. Like in here is Captain Caveman.
Let's find Cousin It.
Right. And we'll do a comparison.
That's right. There you go.
Versus. So Marianne asks, how long would a spirit stay if no one is in the home?
If they knew you were coming back after an hour of grocery shopping, they're not going anywhere. But if they see you packing a suitcase and you're going away for a while, if they're going with you, that's one thing. But if they're not, they'll go to the neighbor's house across the street, to a mall, and just keep checking to see when you're coming back. But if they've been in your house for a while, they probably know exactly how long you're going to be gone. So, I mean, they can walk over to the table and see what your flight schedule is like, and they'll know.
So Swifty and Scott say the black holder could be filter and or just the extender.
Well, it's funny. Ted is over in the other room listening. He, of course, has his little cell phone, which, of course,
answer machine
I don't touch. And apparently the real name for this is called a Quellazare. Quellazare, very French. So there is an actual name for it. Now, I suppose in this vast people listening, I'm going to suppose somebody probably collects those. Oh, because sure. People collect the weirdest things. And I could imagine somebody collecting those.
I can imagine. To me, they all look the same, but I'm sure there's different lengths, different embellishments or engravings or something on these.
Of course, ivory, whatever. I mean, you could have really it's like the first time I went to my podiatrist's office, I was shocked because on the walls, on shelves, he had shoes that people wore from like the 1900s. Displayed, as they've come up all the way up to like the now ones were Nikes. So it's everybody just likes to see stuff like that.
That would be interesting, like how shoes have progressed and how they help you versus.
Yeah, from the high button ones with the hook was right there to hook them and everything. It was, I mean, you see them on TV and shows and movies, but you really don't pay attention till you're sitting in the chair waiting for your appointment, staring at it. It's like, how the heck did somebody even bother to wear that? So
Well, that's why, you know, the ladies and the gentlemen had the helpers.
that's right.
Waiting or whatever to help cinch all the layers of things. And then how are you going to bend over to put your shoes on? You're not.
You are not.
You're lucky you can breathe to stand up and walk. Oh, hello, Heidi. And hello here, everybody coming in with us. Have you ever met someone who told you about their gifts that you knew they were lying and just trying to impress you? The face, Marian.
It happens on occasion, and I guess depending what kind of mood I'm in at that particular time, it'll be how much I decide to press it. If it's somebody young, I just let them go. But if it's somebody older, the thing that almost will absolutely just grate me is when somebody comes up to me and tells me something about me.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, when you were talking to that spirit, I saw this cloud standing right next to you. It's like, yeah, no, you didn't. So, but I just, it's just because I can't see what somebody else sees doesn't mean they're not seeing it. And I have to keep that in the back of my head because nobody does anything the same way. And so maybe they can. Maybe the one person that they see constantly is their grandmother, whether she's earthbound or crossed over. I can't see her, so that tells me she's from the other side, but that doesn't mean you can't see her.
Right. And as you've pointed out, everybody sees them slightly different, or at least some earthbounds.
Right. I can look at a person and see hair color, eye color, the clothes they have on, the shoes they have on, but you could be standing next to me and have the same ability and you see a shadow person. You don't see what I see, even though you see exactly where they're standing. So it's how you are interpreting the energy that they are projecting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know, like, one of the first times I ever met you and listened to one of your talks, and I think it was at the one golf club out towards Medina, the Copper Top, I believe it was.
Oh, yeah.
That way, it's been a minute. Somebody had asked the question about ghosts walking through walls, and you were like, no, they don't. And I remember thinking, I've seen them do it. And this was in my mom's house. But after you and I had the conversation, I'm like, that wasn't earthbound, and I'm like, okay. And it was a tall, dark shadow looking thing that like walked through the wall of the bedroom, and both the cat, and the ferret that I had at the time were looking at the same spot. So it wasn't just me.
This is it. It sounds like a contradiction. It's like, no, they don't walk through the wall. However, this door behind me doesn't have to be open for them to walk through it. So they are walking through something solid, but it's the doorway. It's not the wall.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and then I got to thinking about it. I'm like, there's been extensions and additions done to that house. And if it's one of the more, the repetitive time loop, and they're not the consciously like earthbound, like
in and out, right.
I'm like, yeah, that probably was the back door before they added on the back den and the back porch and,
Exactly.
So many things. Let's see. So I saw the question somewhere. I don't see it right now. That do the earthbounds, do they just eat and drink for pleasure then, since they don't need to?
They do not. I have never, ever, ever seen an earthbound spirit drink or eat anything. They will walk around a table and smell, oh, that smells so good, but they do not eat. I guess they just don't have to.
Right. Well, I wonder then too,
Now, before I say anything, somebody is going to make a comment. If you're staring at me, it looks like there's a white shadow jumping around behind me. And someone's going to say, if you go to number 1021 and look, there's a ghost behind you, Marianne. No, my heat pump kicked in. That's what that is. Steam from my heat pump. Let's clear it up right now.
Science. It's science and technology.
Right. Somebody said something about last week. If you go to 14 27. How do even people know how to do that? Your blinds are moving. Yeah, the cat was underneath them, and the cat was moving the blinds. Nobody's in my house.
I've had people text later on some of our things and go, "Oh, you had a little girl in your house," and I'm like, "No, I don't.
Yeah.
No." And then it would come out later that like, "Oh, that was more of what was going on there, and for some reason, like they perceived it, And I'm like, "No, I don't."
No, people have to understand that wherever we are doing this from, it is totally secure. Your store does not have any earthbound spirits in it. My house does not have any earthbound spirits in it. Your house doesn't have any earth. So you're not seeing anything that shouldn't be in any of our houses when you are actually now, I don't know, maybe somebody out there seeing my guardian angel standing next to me. I mean, I wouldn't argue with it. That's a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Which that would be a cool thing.
Yeah, it would.
Somebody
asked me on one of the questions if I could tell them the name of their guardian angel. No, because they're from the light and I cannot see or talk to them. So you would have to go to a medium or a psychic or something like that to find that.
And I always laugh when they're human names, because I'm like, if you get into the old biblical text and everything, they're about that long, lots of consonants. They, but I guess if it's easier for you to call me Jeff, then fine, I'm Jeff.
That's right, or Max or whatever. Right.
And everybody's Michael. I'm like, there's more than one angel out there, guys.
I think everybody is always after Michael the Archangel, and it's like that poor angel. He must get a headache from everybody. It must be like my telephone. So it just keeps going off. So.
Right. Well, technically, there's an angel specifically for that who's bored and talks to them.
Right.
I'm very much a sarcastic thing when it comes to the whole angels, and even more so the astrology, because everybody's flipping with Mercury, and I'm like, that would have messed up even if it wasn't Mercury retrograde.
I don't know. The first 3 days in Mercury retrograde, and it's not over till the 20th. My toaster, my frying pan, my electric fry pan, and my mixer all went within 48 hours. 2 of them were brand new. Yes, that's Mercury retrograde.
I'm like, I don't know. That could be a whole other discussion, maybe. So back to our ghost questions. What do ghosts do while we're sleeping? Because I'm sure they're not vacuuming for us, because that would be wonderful.
I wish. No, they are not. They're usually, depending, if they're a ghost that aggravates you, then they're going to be in your bedroom while you're sleeping, and you're going to have really bizarre, loud dreams, or they're pulling the covers off of you, or they're down in the basement kicking the furnace so you hear this huge boom through the whole house. Chasing the cat around the house so it's knocking stuff off shelves. Or they're just sitting in a chair waiting for somebody to get up. It depends on their personality.
If they're a jerk when they were alive, they're a jerk when they're dead.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Have you ever seen an earthbound spirit messing with people in public and that you had to intervene?
I have. I've done it twice. Well, I've done it more than twice, but 2 times. The one time that I did it, I think I mentioned it on here. I was on a very small airplane, like a 7-seater, which, oh, you have no idea how that makes me crazy. And I was sitting in the front seat, and the hostess, the airline stewardess, whatever they're called now, was fixing herself a cup of coffee after she had served everybody else something. And those counters back there have a lip about that big around them, so that when they put something on there with the with the plane moving, the cup doesn't slide off or anything. And she looked at the pot. There was enough for a cup of coffee. She poured herself a cup of coffee, took the pot over to where she was going to put it in the sink or rinse it out. And that ghost just walked over like a cat, Did you ever see a cat push stuff off of a shelf? Just kaboom, right on the floor. And jumped, and I'm just watching this. I'm thinking, you son of a gun. So she sort of tried. The plane didn't move. It didn't drop. It didn't nothing. So she was down her hands and knees. She cleaned it up, and I guess she really wanted something to drink. So she got herself a bottle of water, one of those small ones, not the big ones, and uncapped it and set it up there. And wasn't he going to do the same thing? He walked over, and I saw his hand go out, and I went, "Hey!" And he just went like that. And I said, "Stop it." And he just went right out the door. He was gone. So, yeah, I have done that. When you could eat out in a restaurant, we were eating out, and where we were sitting, I could see the room that had like the pots for if you ordered soup, or there was a refrigerator in there with a glass door. And the waitress went in there and opened up that glass door and got some creamers and took them over to somebody's table. Well, Ghost walked over and opened up that door in that refrigerator and left it open about a good 2 inches. And I'm thinking, now, why did they do that? I don't know what they're thinking. I just see them. And here, the supervisor, the boss, the owner, I don't know who the guy was that walked in there. He walked over to the refrigerator, and there were 2 wait staff in there now. He he says, "Damn it, I told you, keep this refrigerator door closed." And both of them looked at each other, the 2 wait staff ladies, and they just sort of shrugged their shoulder. Well, the other one went in and got orange juice out and was filling a glass of orange juice, put the orange juice back in, left, and that Ghost, she walked right over and opened up that door again. And in walks the boss again, and he just started yelling again. So the third time it happened, she was going to go for it to open it a third time, and I said, "Enough." And she looked at me. I said, "Knock it off." And she did. But I have seen them messing with kids in stores where I've said something. So, yeah, I mean, my rule of thumb is if you don't ask me, I'm not going to tell you, because that's really none of my business. But don't mess with kids or dogs or people that are working. Leave them alone. Don't do stuff like that.
Right. Don't get them fired. Don't get them in trouble. Don't.
No, exactly. It's like that kid with the popcorn at the show. They were in front of us. We had gone to an afternoon show, and it was a mother and a father and 2 boys, and they were in front of us. And they ordered the big family style, big bucket of popcorn. And the little guy was maybe 7 or 8. He says, "Can I hold it? Can I hold it?" Sure. And they gave it to him, and we're walking in. We were going to the same show. So they were in front of us and walked in just in time to see a ghost walk over to that family, take his hand, and hit the bottom of the popcorn. And popcorn went everywhere. Father smacked him up the side of the head. It's like, oh, no, that's ridiculous. So, yeah, and I said something then, too.
That's just mean.
Exactly. And the ghost just laughed. He was young. He's about 20, 21 years old. And I guess he just thought he was being funny. He wasn't funny after I told him off.
See, that's where you drop him through a white light through the hole.
Right? Come on. Right.
Nobody likes you.
Nobody.
So Annie asks, can artifacts be cursed?
Anything can be cursed. Any item can be cursed. Any place can be cursed. Any area, a property can be cursed. Yes, negative energy can be put on anything, but it can also be removed off of anything. So it's not a done deal. You can take it off, have it removed. But yeah, negative energy can be on anything or anyone.
Mm. That's probably, if you're somebody that you go into thrift stores and you kind of like something, you pick it up and you're like, no.
And it's just something, you just feel it. You just go, no, I don't think I needed it that bad. Antique stores, secondhand stores, museums. You can't believe what goes on in the museum.
So we need to do ghost walks in museums, is what you're saying.
Yeah, good luck with that. I don't think anybody will let us in on any of those. There is, though, which surprised me, when our girls were young, we used to do a mystery tour and do something fun, maybe a couple times a month on a weekend. And one weekend, I don't even know if you know that this exists, but there is a button museum. And I have buckets of buttons in the house from stuff over 50 some years, but I have never seen so many buttons in my life. And there were actually people attached to some of those buttons, ghosts. There were carved buttons. There was one guy there that carved buttons when he was alive. He was from the 20s.
I just can't see being attached to buttons or shoelaces or zippers
or carousel horses.
No.
Dolls.
Not them either. Nope, not a fan
Puppets?
of them either.
Puppets. And those can be creepy.
They are. And like, what was that Jim Henson reboot on Netflix that everybody was all like, oh my God, you got to watch it. I'm like, nope. It's newer too. But I'm like, those things are creepy. I'm not going to watch it. Thank you. I can't think. I'm going to have to Google it on the side here.
Clowns. Look how many people are scared to death of clowns.
And, I have found that fight or flight, and there's like a third one in there where you compliment or something, you try to befriend, but we're all familiar with fight and flight. Like I'm the instant angry, like you get too close, I'm going to hit you. Like, I'm not going to run away. I'm going to fight you. So if you'd like to dress as a clown, do it over there.
I don't know how many people remember if you're from the Cleveland area, years ago, at Christmas time, it was the place to go is downtown Cleveland with the stores and all their animated stuff in the windows, and Francis the Talking Mule and Santa Claus and Mr. Jingling and all of this stuff down there. The girls were young. The girls were like 8 and 6, 8 and 5, something like that. And we went down for the girls to see Santa, and we came walking out of Higbee's, and I don't know what I was doing. I was looking for something in my purse, I think. And of all things, to come up and grab me from behind was a Care Bear, a person dressed as a Care Bear, an adult. And it grabbed me from behind. And all I know is that I turned around, I didn't see anything. I just had my purse and I smashed it in the head with my purse. To this day, my girls tell me, Mom smashed the Care Bear.
Not a Care Bear fan. I had one as a kid. They didn't, but yeah, the big stuff. No.
Yeah, but they were walking around, and I didn't see them when we walked out of the tower, because you came through Higbee's through the tower. I never saw them. And like I said, my mind was someplace else. I was going to get something on my Why would somebody come up behind you and grab you from the back in downtown Cleveland? Come on.
That in itself is scary.
Right.
Especially since that area, was it Justice Center right down the road back then too?
Oh, no. This was right in the center of downtown, right where the terminal tower is. No, this was on the square. So no, it was a safe area. And that's still almost 50 years ago. And it was a little bit, it was a little bit safer back then. So.
I was going to say, because now, like as soon as you
walk not now.
The city, like no hanging out downtown anymore. So looking back, catching through some questions here, lots of hellos coming in. Oh, Marlena, she asked, sorry. She asked if there's quince seeds in her bag, and then her follow-up is, well, I did it. I washed my dream bag.
Still works 100%. And yes, there is a quince seed in all the dream bags. And they are in plastic inside there. And so washing and drying should not hurt it anyway. So it should still work 100%.
And
Stick
Karen,
them, in all honesty, the best place, they have to be under your pillow area. They don't have to be actually in the pillow. You can use 3 pillows, but if you lift the corner of your sheet up and stick it underneath between the sheet and the mattress pad so that it's under the pillow area, at least you're not apt to throw them in the washer that easy when you're taking your pillow out of a pillowcase. So,
right. They get stuck down in there. So Karen, Billy, Mike, hello to all 3. If I wake up every morning at 3 a.m., is that spirits messing with me? I'm tired. I bet.
They can. There can be ones that try to wake you up every time at the same time, same time every night. Yeah, that absolutely could be a spirit. And of course, I would have no way of knowing just from asking the question, but they have been known to do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a lot of the paranormal shows like to say that 3 to 3:30 is the devil's hour, and that always means it's something. I also like to say there's your REM sleep cycle, and depending on what time you go to sleep and how long you've been asleep, and if you're coming up, and if you're sensitive as you're waking up, like don't freak yourself out unnecessarily. Possibly.
Right. And people don't realize that we're up and down all night long like that. But there have been ghosts that wait until you get into that REM period where that's where they wake you up. And those are the people that are usually most tired because they're not getting their sleep. So, but not everything is a ghost. Life happens. Believe me. I would like to blame everything on a ghost, but that's not the case.
Right. And you do, I kind of fall into the belief that at that certain point, like you are a little more open and pay attention, can receive. And sometimes meditation, the whole point is to get you into that brainwave. So you are a little more aware or easily receptive. So
and that's usually when people turning over in the middle of the night, or all of a sudden you wake up and you're warm, so you sit up and you take your pillow and you turn it over so you get the cool side. Mm-hmm. That's when you're going to catch somebody out the corner of your eye. When you're half asleep, half awake. In the morning, the clock goes off. You don't even open your eyes. You just sort of reach over and hit it for 10 more minutes. Mm-hmm. And if you sort of just turn over and you're like, whoa, what's that? Or when you when you're almost asleep at night. That's a lot of times when people see it too, when you're so totally relaxed. Or, you brought it up, people that meditate. Mm-hmm. If they first start, before they get into it really deep, that's a time where you want it to be opening you up. So, do you want to see stuff or not?
Yeah, that's a whole other lengthy discussion on people who want the gifts, but then learning to handle it and be confident and not feel overwhelmed, by it. Which is why we do classes and workshops, and that you don't have to run away and constantly be in the fear mode that I have to protect myself from everything now.
The fact that when somebody has something in the house, I don't understand. Having a ghost in the house is bad enough, but why does it have to be the devil? Why does it have to be a demon? A ghost isn't good enough for you. You've got to make it worse. Nah, that's not necessary.
I'll keep
Go ahead. Yep.
So there was a question in here, and I think Lewis was asking about, when people come into the store and they try to impress, and I kicked it over to you. And so the people that are constantly claiming to only the ascended masters talk to them, and only the highest of the high talk to them. And than the people that are like, all the demons are coming to get me. And I'm like, what makes you, out of everybody else, the most important one, to do all of this for and with? Everybody is important. Everybody matters. So, but when it comes to the demons, and I've had clients come in, and there was a mother and a daughter, and the mother was just like, all the demons in her house causing chaos and corrupting her daughter. And her daughter was clearly in the 20s. And I'm like, she's right there. You're talking about her as if she's not here. And what it came down to was the daughter is the helper and the giver type of personality, and likes helping people, and kept helping people who were coming in and out of the criminal justice system and giving too much of herself, and was being taken advantage of. And I'm like, there are no demons. Like, you have a daughter who likes helping people, but she's being taken advantage of, and you nagging at her about needing to go to church and getting right with God is not fixing the situation. There are no demons. Get her in a program for like counseling, or
teach her how to protect herself.
Right. Like, the demons don't care about your one house in the middle of Cleveland.
No.
The users and abusers and the people that take advantage of those willing to help, those are the problems that you have right now. Stop it with the demons. So next question. Let me see. Yes, they contain the quinseeds. I did see the comment about how, I think it was Karen who said, ever since she read your book, she no longer goes to thrift stores, so she doesn't have to worry about the cursed objects.
But you carry a little bag of sea salt in your car. Anything that you buy used or antique, or God forbid, off the curb on trash night. Before you put it in your vehicle, sprinkle a little bit of sea salt on it. If somebody's attached to that item, about 85% of the time, they will not follow you. Or get whatever you want, put it in your garage when you get home, and get your smudge stick out and smudge everything before you take it in the house. Or if your house is protected, or you carry a quinseed charm on you, you're not going to have them in your house anyway, so you can buy whatever you want. Buy it. Just take care of it.
So Lewis asked, do you speak telepathically to spirits or out loud?
I speak telepathically, not out loud at all, which has saved me so much grief, because you have no idea. If I run across a ghost that hasn't actually spoken to anybody for 50 years, their mouth doesn't stop. It just runs off and off. And they love to gossip. They tell me all kinds of things. A lot of times as they're talking to me, I'm going, la, 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 because I don't really need to know what goes on in some people's houses. And so, but no, it's totally telepathically, and which is wonderful. And I think that's why I can understand anybody in any language, because it's telepathically.
Karen says she came to see you here at the shop in December, and she was wondering if you received her phone call.
I do not remember, Karen. Wait a minute. I remember you from the shop. I believe you wanted to talk about a relative. And actually, I was surprised that you didn't call. So obviously, I did not get the message. Try calling again.
And Gina, can my guardian angels interact with my deceased loved ones?
Don't know. I know that they stay with you 100%. So if a loved one comes through the light and comes to visit you, I would think yes, but I don't know for sure. You need to seriously talk to somebody that's really good with angels, because that is not my area of expertise.
So Lewis says, sometimes I like to blame things on ghosts, but sometimes I have to admit it's my own stupidity.
You and everybody else.
No, now, well, because you've cleaned everything for me, my blame are the effing fairies. You know, I'm like, I just said it right here. Where to go, fairies?
I'm
So-
telling you, they can absolutely be a pain.
So if you're local and you've been in and I've misplaced something, you probably have heard or will hear me mutter about those damn fairies. That's just
I wish there was something like, and maybe you would know this. I do not. I wish there was something like people carry stones for different things, and I've never heard of a stone that repels fairies or anything like that. Only because they're
No.
alive, they're not dead.
Well, fairies have an aversion to like metals, like cast iron, like that, supposedly. So stones, not so much. Every now and then, like I'll have iron shavings, but mainly iron's like a good energy conductor to put in like crystal grids. But when people are coming in and they're having problems, and I'm like, try putting this around your doorways and see if that helps. And I've had a few say that it does, but they don't like iron or metal.
I forgot about that. I actually got iron shavings from a factory, and he had a coffee can of those. And oh, that's right. And the other thing that works too, if you take like a canning jar and you put nails in it, like, and you put it by your doors, that's supposed to stop them from coming in too.
Oh,
But I didn't know. I didn't know if there was any actual stones that worked or not for that.
not that I've seen. You know, as much as we do a lot of work with the stones and crystals, you know, I like to tell people, I'm like, they don't fix everything, you know, and I'm not the business owner that I'm just going to sell you something to make the buck. I'm going to flat out tell you like, you know, I can't, there are no stones that you can grid your property to keep the coyotes off. Because why? The coyotes are of the land. They walk everywhere. They're not going to suddenly avoid a piece of land because there's a piece of lapis on it. Ooh, it burned. They don't care. It doesn't affect them that way. Or, you know, for fair, if anything, they're going to like it because they're shiny, they're pretty, they're colorful, you know. But stones don't fix everything as much as we wish we could. Though I do like to joke that any stone repels negativity if you have a good aim and you throw hard enough.
Very good.
So Bobby said, back to our clowns, you know, I had a clown for 20 years, divorced him. It's all about peace of mind.
Very good. Very, very good. Yeah.
Let's see. So Mad Hatter says, hi, Marianne and Melissa. I caught a female spirit saying, help me on cameras in my house. And I was wondering if it was actually wants help or is it just trying to spook my family to get energy?
Could be both. It like, you know, it was enough where they got the energy from you, I'm sure, just looking at the picture and seeing somebody there, you know, trying to mouth something to you. So but it could be a combination of both things where they're trying to get the energy and they may want the help. Take a piece of paper just on one side and write on the piece of paper, whoever you're here, go to the closest funeral home to your house is called Smith's. Go to Smith's funeral home when there's a service going on, use the white light and you can cross over. So they can cross over themselves if they know how. So, you know, one side of a paper, put it on your refrigerator, keep it on your dining room table, someplace where they're walking by, they can see it. And that is one way to help them cross over.
That's funny because we have that funeral home like diagonally there. I speak English across the street from the store, and there's been times because our store is gridded, and you just get them like, there's somebody waiting, you know, out in the parking lot. I feel like I could do a permanent sign, be like, go over there when all the cars are in the parking lot.
That's right.
You know,
exactly right.
Here, you're not invited.
Right.
Our fairies. Are fairies one gender? Have you noticed, like male, female?
I have seen male, female. I have seen, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know, maybe, but that's a cartoon. Maybe the Smurfs are all whatever. But, well, there's one girl Smurf, isn't there?
Smurfette, yeah, the one.
One. That's interesting. So, but no, I have seen genders of both. I've never seen a male sprite, but I have seen the sprites I've seen are females, but I'm sure that they are.
Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on questions that were starting to come in. So, Tasty Pug. Wait, where's the first part? Here we go. It jumped. No, that's still not. They're out of order. Watch too much Ghost Whisper. Is it odd or weird that I sometimes dream of seeing the light?
No, and maybe that is somebody that is crossed over that is trying to talk to you in a dream, which is what they do when they cross over, and that's giving you proof that they are from the light. So that could be all that is. It just be a sign that it's, it's good. It's a good thing.
Do the quin seeds need to be replaced after a certain time? Inquiry from Mila.
They do not. I mean, they can be popped, exploded, imploded, smashed in crumbs. They still work 100%. The dentists that I know that will put a quin seed in your tooth for you. Yes, I know, but they do. And sometimes they just need a little piece of it, and it works 100%. Some of the charms that you guys get, in a couple of the charms, there is a whole seed, but in the sterling or the gold tone ones, there's just pieces of quin seeds in them. They work 100%. So, and they do not have to be replaced. Absolutely not.
I saw the question. I don't see it now. But they were asking if we thought that the iron pyrite stone might work for the fairies. And I don't know if it's enough of an iron content, to be honest. Like, I would just say get the iron shavings themselves, because you can order that online really easy if you think you have the problem. I don't think there's enough metal in the pyrite to make it to do what you need it to do. Good question. Why did the spirits come out of closets? Because they're jerks.
Especially in children's rooms, because kids are afraid of their closets. Didn't you ever stand in the closet when you were a kid waiting for your sister to open the door so you could scare the heck out of her when she opened the door? Actually, I did that when we first got married. I did it once, and I will never do that again.
Your poor head.
Oh my God, he couldn't breathe. I scared him so bad. Oh my God. Oh, I know. Poor Ted. And oh my gosh, it's our wedding anniversary on Saturday. And I think about that now. Isn't that cute? But yeah, no. And kids especially if your closet doors creak or squeak when they open and close. That is enough to set a kid right on their ear, let alone an adult laying in bed by themselves, hearing their closet door open and close.
Or stand in the shower and hear all the bedrooms open and closing.
That's right. They like to mess with doors, run their fingers down. Of course, not too many people use metal hangers anymore. But when everybody used metal hangers, they could make noise with the hangers. They can do that. Or they can make it sound like everything fell off the shelf in the closet, and you go open the door and nothing's on the floor. Mm-hmm. So, they can do all of that just to get on your nerves.
So Cheryl asked a question about Palladians, and Marian, I don't know if you get into much with the Palladians. I do know on our channel, the Goddess Elite YouTube channel, there was one discussion with Ernesto about some of the not earthbounds, different alien races and what they do. And there'll be other ones coming up sometimes, nailing down schedules to record things. So if you want to go back and check out that one, and there'll be more. And your other question about the energy you were feeling, if you want to send me a private and let me know, were you trying to meditate when you were sleeping? Because a lot of times as you're sleeping, you do kind of let go of your blocks and your boundaries that you don't even realize you do during the day. And that energy feeling a lot of times is like an unwinding and the relaxation and the things coming in. So that's my short answer without knowing more of what's going on. But send an email or a message to the store page. Oh, Gina says happy anniversary, and Bobby says happy anniversary.
I want to say before we forget, we will not be here next Wednesday morning. 6 months ago, I had to make a medical appointment, not knowing you just make it 6 months in advance, and it ends up being this next week, actually at 10 o'clock next Monday morning or Wednesday morning. And I tried to change it, and that means I have to wait 5 more months to get an appointment again. Can't do that. So we will not be here next Wednesday morning. There will still be a YouTube Wednesday at 5:30, but in the morning we will not be here. Again, we're still in Mercury retrograde till the 20th. Tomorrow is the law of abundance, and it peaks at 2:06 p.m. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which should be easy enough to do Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you do that. And the next Zoom is on Monday, the 22nd.
With availability, yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick is asking.
You can astroplane to outer space, to the moon, the sun, and other planets. I would imagine earthbound spirits can too, but I do not know for sure.
Ted.
Yeah, right. Ted, tell me what the moon looks like.
We need YouTube spots with just Ted. His sides of the stories of going to the houses and stuff. That's why he and I
would be a whole different slant on things. Let me tell you, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Let's see. So yes. Quick question, because I think Wendy is joining us on our next Zoom. We lost our keys in a major fire in our home. Is there any way I can get more for our new home?
Yeah, call and let me take care of it for you. Yeah, once I've cleared your house, that's available to you. Yes.
I love Lewis's questions. That's why I'm usually chuckling off to the side. Have you ever met a ghost that has offended you? I feel like people can become really bitchy when they die because they can judge out loud and no one can hear them.
100% correct, Lewis. Most of the time I just get the one-fingered salute. That seems to be the most common thing that happens, especially if it's somebody from out of a portal. But they're nasty to begin with, so that's not that uncommon.
Judgy McJudgerson.
Right.
So if you want to be able to order any of Marianne's seeds or her dream pillows, MarianneWinkowski.com. And as soon as I find where my little banner went, or if you need to call Marianne to see about ghosts in your house. Now, Marianne, you're probably about 9-10 weeks out in returning.
The Zoom are actually helping. They truly are. And
sign up.
The thing is, I can talk to you over the phone. I can tell you yes or no. And I'm not saying in the past year that I have not done any houses. I have, but very selective, single person, no house with kids. Ted and I have not had our shot yet, our COVID shot. And so I'm waiting to see. I'm hoping that stuff starts, get easing up so that we can have some of the events again. We need to do these things. We need to get some of these events put in here. And it's been a long year.
It has. And we're only into February 2021, and it already feels like it's been a long year for 2021. So there's Marianne's website to order seeds, pillows, your soap, your Blessed Salt soap. What else do you have on there, Marianne? Some of your books.
You can buy Blessed Sea Salt. You can get the zipper pulls. You can get house selling kits, the sea salt soap, smudge sticks, books. There's a link that goes to Amazon, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get a book or not. You said you're having a hard time getting the book, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, that's going to be some phone calls coming up later this afternoon. And Lewis, I'm going to be a sassy gay ghost when I die.
And I run across those too. And fashionable. Hey, in all honesty, most gay guys are very fashionable if you think about it.
Well, now we know if people's expensive Coaches and Pradas and things are going missing, the first one I'm like, damn it, Lewis, give it back. Which I don't have. Very like.
I was just going to say, nah.
Take it.
Don't have any of those either, right?
So, real quick, as you said, Law of Abundance is coming up right before or after the new moon.
Right before it peaks. It peaks at 2:06 Eastern Standard Time, which means you want to write it after midnight, but before 2 p.m. in our time zone. Check your own time zones where you are, but it has to be written before it peaks.
And they can go to your website and get the example of how to write the check properly, which is really easy.
And you can even print out a check. There's checks there. If you have a printer, you can even print out a check.
But let's see. Make sure there's that. You're welcome, Laura. Laura's one of our readers, by the way. Laura here. There she is. Wonderful tarot oracle readers. One of these days I'm going to get her on YouTube. She's got like this aversion to cameras, and I did too, and now it seems like I'm on the camera all the stinking time. What are the dates for Law of Abundance? Every month when there's a new moon, so it happens once a month. And if you ever want to know your dates, and Marianne, you have them on your website with the times, but it's really handy to just Google the moon charts for the year. Because not only will it give you full and new, but it'll give you, everything in between. And that's usually
what I have to say. There's a lot of people that like to use the Farmer's Almanac for the new moons. This almanac for 2/21 has 3 mistakes on the new moon. Don't follow them. Right?
Go to Mariam's website.
Yeah, just pull it up. It even says what the name of the moon is, because all the moons have names, and they even have, I think last month it was the full moon have names, not the new moons. But they're all on there. The Mercury retrogrades, everything is on there. So when there are eclipses, so everything is on that chart. So, and people are saying they can't find it. It's not there. When am I going to update it? It is updated. You need to update your computer or whatever it is.
Your history, your cookies, because it's loading the old version of the website, trying to make it faster for you, meaning the person who's looking at the website. So sometimes you have to refresh that and clear that out. Trying to make sure there aren't any questions that I have missed. Patrick did say when we were talking about clowns and dolls, and he hates mimes, that for me, they're not as creepy as like dolls and clowns. Like my best friend, Rhonda, her mom had one of those dolls that were like 3-4 feet, but it had no face. You stand them in the corner. And I'm like, that thing comes to life at night. I'm going to kill it. So that was a big joke in their house. Yeah, me and her mom.
And I don't know why, but children really do not like clowns. Clowns are scary to little kids. I don't know how these people that do kids' parties or clowns, how they make any money. Because when they walk in, all these kids have meltdowns when they see them. So
I think it's that over-exaggerated, and they always want to get in your face, thinking that the bigger they smile, the happier you're going to be. And, like just back up.
Nope.
And then you hear about... it wasn't Bundy. Who was it that dressed as the clown, the serial killer anyway? Who then had the bodies like in the crawl space in his house. Like then you have people like that who are like, see, I told you clowns are evil. Gacy.
That's right.
Poor Gina, she collects clowns. Well, I'll tell you what, anytime I come across a clown, we'll just ship them your way.
There were clowns that, like Red Button used to play a clown, and Emmett Kelly used to play clowns, but they were so generic. They weren't exaggerated with the big red lips and the big red nose and the crazy red hair everywhere. So
it's that feeling of falseness, like, and yeah, like even Patrick, he's like the angry and the evil that's behind that happy facade.
Exactly. And Stephen King didn't help it with his books and clowns either, for heaven's sakes. I mean, who the heck even wants to buy a car after Stephen King?
Well, and the only reason why I really watched it was because I loved, and I still do because he's still alive. And now the name just went out of my head, and I am such a bad fan. The Rocky Horror Picture Dude. Damn it, Laura, help me. But he played the first clown in it. But he was also the guy who played Rocky in Rocky Horror Picture Show. I need to drink more.
Here's when I was a teenager. I don't remember who it was.
Tim Curry. Thank you, Sandra, because I was like, Tim Burton. It's a Tim of some sort.
Okay.
I have lost my Tim Curry fangirl license. I no longer am a proud owner.
I really don't know who that is.
You didn't watch Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No, I went.
You went to the original? When you come back in 2 weeks, there's going to be all the Tim Curry things.
I don't know anything I never saw the show. Not when you were there and you could do everything. I mean, it was so cool back then.
Did you see The Worst Witch in the 80s, the movie The Worst Witch? Oh, man. He was in Home Alone as well. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. We will have to. Yeah, he was the hotel guy in Home Alone.
I'll have to have Ted pull up a picture of him. If I see what he looks like, maybe I'll know who he is.
Oh, and see, now every time I see you, we're going to have to play the Sweet Transvestite song from Rocky Horror. And then but this is Tim.
Yep. And those were just enough where they were a little bit different every time you went, depending how the audience reacted.
Yeah, those are. I want to
get dressed up, of course.
Right. How it's.
Ted never went. I would go. He was in Vietnam, and we would go with friends down there. So.
Okay. Well, now we're way out. Everybody's talking about all the Tim Curry things, which is fun. He's awesome. And it was the only reason why I watched the Fox remake of the Rocky Horror that they did a couple of years ago, and they completely ruined it and slaughtered it. But they had him in, and he was the professor in the wheelchair because unfortunately he had a stroke a few years back, and so sad. He would be another one. Him and Betty White, when they die, I'm going to be a blubbering, sobbing mess. So, yes. What type of film would be needed for capturing ghosts? I saw this up there and I couldn't find it. Then got
you want film, black and white, fast speed if you can get it. Of course, they're not making film hardly anymore. So, but they still are making disposable ones. And so if you can get the disposable cameras and no flash, because the flash could be construed as being a ghost. If you see a bright white light, you would think that's it. So no flash. And if you're going to take it back to get it developed, these places that develop it try to save you money, and they will not develop dark pictures because they don't want you to spend the money. Well, you tell them to develop them all, dark or light. And if you don't see anything on the picture, look on your negative. And be careful, because they even have digital in disposable now. So don't accidentally buy a digital disposable camera. Oh my God, say that fast. But no, you want a black and white film camera.
If you have a fancier camera like those Canons, does shutter speed?
Fast as possible. Fast speed, right. Okay. On mine, years ago, I used to use 800 speed. And it's even higher than that, but I used 800 speed on mine, black and white, and that's when you had to put the film in and everything. I
And
mean,
click over and
yeah, and I'm sure there's still some of those out there somewhere. But the cell phones and the digital cameras, they're really good at catching orbs, which are good. You want orbs. Orbs are good, but they're not so good catching earthbound spirits.
ooh, Laura, we might want to see some of your pictures, maybe.
Oh, we could do that one of these times, sure.
Yeah, we should have a ghost on film,
That'd be good.
sharing experience. Elwyn Roberta says she's caught a ghost on her iPhone camera.
I'm surprised. That's really good because that's really hard to do, to catch them on
the
because again, that's digital.
Let's see. So you've kind of covered this before in some other ones, but what are the chances of having spirits come in and out of your home when you live near a cemetery or century home?
Century home, yeah. Cemeteries, no. Cemeteries make your best neighbors. Everybody in the cemetery is dead. An earthbound spirit cannot get any energy from going into a cemetery. Now, there's always exceptions to the rules. And is that your phone, Melissa? Okay. If there is, if it's October and everybody's doing these ghost walks because of Halloween, then maybe you'll have a ghost coming along on that. But it could be attached to somebody that's in the group. Doesn't have to necessarily mean that it's somebody that has their body buried in that cemetery.
Like they're reading forever. Oh, good.
It stopped.
I'm like, shh. Okay, last question, because it's already 1:15, and Marianne, I'm sure you've got a full day ahead of you. Colleen asks, why do I mostly see ghosts with my peripheral vision? I have personally seen them as white figures and dark. Why might that be? Somebody says spirits calling.
Yeah, there you go. Because that's how most people catch them out of the corner of their eye. Very few people see them face on. And usually the white shadow, the dark shadow, that is how you are seeing their energy. That doesn't mean that they are a black shadow walking around. They're probably a regular person walking around, but that's how their energy is being perceived by you. And so that's why you see them like that.
Oh, right, because everybody's ability is different.
That's right.
And that processing. So one last time to wrap it up. For real this time, guys.
Yeah.
Marianne's website, if you would like to order Quincy charms, bags, the Bless You salt soap, all of Marianne's good things. The phone number is also on her website to call and leave her a message, but we're about 10 weeks out now, right? All the phone calls. So if you are wondering if you have ghosts in your house and want to know for sure, the Zoom sessions are limited to 30 people. So there will be 32 there, me and Marianne, and then the 30, but I'm usually just in the background, muting and unmuting and moderating a little more than I do now. It is limited to the 30 people. Everybody gets to ask the 2 questions. We go until everybody has a chance to ask their questions, and we try to make sure new people go first. So if you come in, please let us know ahead of time if you can only stay for so long, but please don't take advantage of that. But everybody will get their questions answered. So if you pop out before we're done, sorry. It is
nobody under 18 either.
Right. It is Eastern Standard Time. Please be aware of the time difference if you have a time difference from us. We won't restart it at 1 a.m. We're in bed. Yeah, so February 22nd, we have like 23 spots still available. So join in. There's the spot again, and we'll be back, in 2 weeks?
2 weeks we'll be here. Yep. And next Wednesday is St. Patty's Day. So everybody have a good St. Patty's Day.
Everybody's Irish on St. Patty's Day.
Wait, I'm wrong. I got the wrong month.
Next month.
On the 17th, which is a Wednesday.
Right.
because next month is identical to this month on dates. So sorry about that. Oh my gosh, it's not even Monday. I do this stuff on Mondays. So
I'm never on the right day or the right week.
it's more.
I'm somewhere but not here apparently. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll see you in a couple weeks. And if you're already signed up, we'll see you on Friday on the Zoom.
That's right. Be safe.
Friday night shenanigans.
Yeah.